Hey everyone, my name is Kabi, welcome to War Legends RTS, and today we are going to watch the fight between Light and another Light, so the Light Mirror matchup. In the bottom right corner appears Dino as the blue light player, and his opponent as the red light player is Zvei. And we already seen a couple of games by this player and actually by these both players, and still since the last weekend we've seen quite a bit of the dark mirrors on the Community Cup tournament. Now it's time to see what's happening in the light mirror. Also, the light received a couple of balance changes in the previous patches and more to come apparently the upcoming week, so it is always worth to see what's happening. And what's happening particularly in this game is Zvei is going up to 9 workers. As a red player I switched the tables in the bottom panel, so now they match the player's layout. And Dino prefers to go 8 workers initially, so he got his swordsman significantly earlier. But this swordsman is slightly later, but it's not really important. But Zvei's starting economy will be a bit stronger. Oh well, actually Dino also added 1 more worker, so now it's 9 against 9, and only little difference in timings, as you might see that they faced each other closer to the red player's base, to the left base, but that's probably happened also because of the pathing of the units. Whatever, Zvei sends 2 of his swordsmen to the enemy's base, while he has 1 more to pop up here to defend his worker line. And meantime he's adding human monument as well as the factory. So he's clearly gonna play knights along with the copters, while Dino is going the elven tree with Altar of Heroes, which goes with the princess and probably archers, but that's still yet for us to see. And here the 2 production buildings come at the same time. Well, human monument is not exactly the production building, but it allows to build knights, so up to some point it is in this particular case. And here comes the slight micro control challenge. So he's trying to finish off the enemy's swordsman, which is the very low HP, and Zvei's been able to do so. So using 2 swordsmen against 3, he still was able to take down 1, and he takes down another one here in his own base. So currently it's 2 against 0 for Zvei, 2 against love if you like the tennis and how they put the scores. Not sure if you ever watched one, but anyway. Here comes the copter, so Dino badly needs his archers. Here comes the first one, and actually 1 archer is enough to defend off the copter, especially under the elven tree, but Zvei also has the knight to work with, but his idea is that the knight should at least leave the units exposed. So the units been left on low HP, and that means that they will be inefficient on the next trade. Currently that means that they'll be inefficient on the chests, which is about to come in 30 seconds. The blue princess of Dino comes at the left chest, but Dino sees that here are the 4 swordsmen, and instead of fighting them, he decides to go to the worker line and probably take down a couple of workers. Here comes the Tower of Mana, the knight takes down a swordsman, and the two chests pop up, but they will go for Zwei. At least a few remembers about the right one, because the unit there is not exactly in position. And the princess uses her fan of arrows and finishes off the two other workers. Will probably able to take down one more, so 3 workers go down. It's not exactly worth it if you trade it for the 2 small chests, but Dino just did what he could, because he clearly didn't have enough to fight this kind of army, because in the early game Knights Copters is a very strong composition and you can't really fight it with the archers, because you are not able to get enough. You can't ever get enough, in my opinion. I'm not sure if there can be possibly a unit composition. Maybe if you skip the princess, because princess is not particularly good against copters since they are mech, but I still doubt. So I still think that Zwei's build is a counter to the Dino's build in the beginning, but that doesn't mean that Dino will not be able to play it further, because the longer game goes, the worse copters will be, so they will not remain an issue. So Dino can make something done, and what he decided to make done is to add the human monument and upgrade both of his barracks to the 2nd tier to be able to produce the guardsmen, or halberdiers if you will. And since those have the they deal twice as much damage, so they have a bonus damage against cavalry, so they will be good against knights. Meantime, Zwei taken up to Factory 2 and the Human Monument 2, so he's about to get Ballistas. And in the previous games we've watched on this channel, we've already seen Zwei's playing Ballistas, and we know that one works against the Dark faction and against the X-Masters, but here he's about to play the entirely different army composition, because Dino is not only staying on the long-ranged units, but he's already adding the guardsmen, and how good will Ballistas be against guardsmen is a very interesting question, and it seems that we are about to find out. But currently Dino's trying to force an engagement, but as we anticipated, as we have expected, Dino's losing this fight against many knights, and it didn't even take copters to beat this army for Zwei, and he easily takes the middle chest. So he's now 3 against 0 in chests, so Dino is considerably behind, we can say. Probably he should try to acquire the mana well to be able to use the circle of power or wherever he can. Probably defense scroll would be good with the guardsman, but right now he's starting this elemental with the portion of his army. I'm not sure what's the purpose for him to keep the other units in the base. Probably he's afraid of the possibility of Zwei advancing at the same time, but as we can see in the minimap, rather than that, Zwei is trying to take, and already took his own mana well. Forget to hold one unit to capture this, in fact, but it's not a problem, as he noticed this. Pay attention and notice this on time. But see how this copter performs now. He takes down a guardsman, and he can even take down the other one, because there is still no sanctuary, so Dino's clearly off any healing. And now come the knights. They take down the guardsman. They also lost the copter. He's trying to capture the well to at least sneak a little bit of mana, but actually he can't, because he still didn't add the mana tower. And that's funny, where you control the 2 mana wells and you don't even have the mana tower to store this mana and collect more than 50. But actually it still makes sense, because at least you don't let your opponent to collect it. But anyways, they start in his assault. His Ballistas are doing as much splash damage as they can. The top Ballistas firing archers and the bottom firing guardsmen, and both do a great job, in my opinion. Well, probably it's not that good that this Ballistas started to attack the top archers. Probably the bottom squad is the better target. And here Dyna's forcing his princess close to the Ballistas so that it can attack her, but knights came in time. Dyna's also using the restoration scroll, and the magic blast can't make it finishing off this princess, but the Ballista's about to do so. So princess goes down, and the healing was used, well, not exactly for nothing, but at least Dyna didn't make it with letting his princess to survive. And now the players notice that the bottom chest still not captured, so Dyna's about to come back in the chest's regard. And also they took a very expensive engagement, because in the end he lost everything he had. Not entirely everything, because this Ballistas survived, but still he lost quite a bit. He also upgrades his own barracks, so probably he's about to answer on those guardsmen with his own. But he only has one Rex so far, while Dyna already has two, and he even adds the third one. And that's now interesting, because in the previous video I criticized Dyna a lot for not adding any production and not adding any tech, and we see how he changes that in this game. And he already adds more production. He has the Hero Altar along with the 3 racks. More mana is about to come, and he forcing his princess to recapture the enemy's mana well, so that Dyna would be able to use more scrolls, probably the 2 scrolls in the single engagement. It's not that good that this mana tower is not ready yet, but anyways, Dyna starting this assault. Nice split from the, whatever it's called, the Dome of the Light, to avoid the damage, but actually it doesn't make that many damage. Honestly, I think it would do more impact if Dyna would just use his own. If he just would not forget to use his own Dome of the Light, but Dyna did what he did. He forces his guardsmen in the midst of the enemy's base, and at the same time trying to take it. He takes down the second tier of the human monument, so that's now an expensive loss, and it also takes a lot of time to reproduce. So Dyna, I think, did a good job during this assault, and he can also take down the enemy's princess, but probably not under the 4 halberdiers, because princess is a cavalry, so it receives a lot of it takes a lot of damage from the guardsmen, and they recaptured his mana well, so it is the job for this princess to be done. And now Dyna is spamming archers again, apparently to counter the guardsmen that the enemy collected so far. They can't build the new guardsman anymore, because he doesn't have a human monument, but it's already being built. And Dyna starts the fight. His archers don't have any support, so it can't really be a good trade, and that's a bad news. Oh, see how fast this princess goes down under this circle of power, but guardsmen are still too beefy for these archers to take him down, so Dyna has to pull back. Even the magic blast out of Zay takes down one archer and exposes the other 2. Meanwhile, the mana well on the top side of the map captured, And it seems that with this Paladin out, Diana will be able to capture the middle chest. The top chest will go for Svaver, though, and that's probably a poor job out of Dino, but he's doing significantly and well, he's just doing well with this princess, taking down nearly all the lumber mining line. Zvei recaptured his mana well, and Dino's trying to find a safe way for princess to retreat. Oh, actually, not retreat, but to see if she can capture this chest, but here she finds a worker, and the chest's been already captured. And at the same time, Dino's starting the assault of the base again. But now he doesn't attack the human monument, but the elven tree, just to take this aura from Zvei, but I don't think that's really important, honestly, and really valuable, because he can't proceed the fight anyway. But, well, probably with these archers with the Circle of Fire, they're trying to pursue the princess, and a lot of crits she catches, and she goes down eventually. And now Dino still has to retreat again, to pull back rather. I wouldn't call this a retreat particularly, but it is still fine, because Paladin can tank, and archers are split widely and they can deal damage, and both of the mana wells are again for the blue player now. But probably not for long. Diana has this under control. He keeps harassing this guy, but doesn't exactly want to fight him. Even more, here is the Ballista, and probably it's safer to run away with this princess, but probably Dino's late for that. Okay, Zveis reordered this Ballista to try to defend the next attack, because here comes quite a bit of archers, and Ballista's not doing a great job right now, because they were attacking Paladin, but now Zveis reordered them, and they are fighting the right targets. But now they have to pull back slightly, and more light units are deeper in the base now, but I don't really like that they all attack the different targets. And here comes the red Paladin to save the day, it seems, because along with the two guardsmen, he is really a big treat to the Dino's army, because his archers are very low and they can't really endure this amount of slash and damage. So Dino has to pull back, and at the same time he's upgrading his main building, his castle, up to the 4th tier, and considering the timer, we probably may say that it is slightly late, but at the same time he always trade, and it is actually the style that Dino just likes to use. He likes to make the constant trades, and probably that is why he can skip upgrading the castle to the 4th tier this early, because he doesn't really need the 4th farm early in the many of his games. Zvei decided to add the sanctuary, to add healers, to be able to heal his heroes in the first place between the engagements, and Dino on his side decided to try assault from the right part of the enemy's base. They starting with the Dome of the Light. Dino's still yet to come, and he doesn't really like this Ballista, so he throws a meteor on it. Also on the red guardsman, of course. Princess firing and Dino activating the Dome of the Light, and so far fight goes well for the blue player, it seems to me. Princess keep firing, and this healer is about to go down. Here she does. Princess forcing the two guardsmen to retreat, but we can also put it this way that Zwei is doing a good job forcing his low units to retreat, so they survive and they can then be healed. Now the 20th minute mark, so the two chests pop up on the map, and now it's a very important task to get those. And Diana is doing precisely the right thing, so he forces this fight in this position, making his opponent to go up straight in his base, and that wins time for the princess and for this archer to take down even more chests. And Dino, by this mark, is leading in the chest clearly, so he is significantly above. And now see on the food supply, it is almost 50% as high for the blue player. And now he tries to attack from the two different angles at the same time, which is probably a great idea whenever you face the ballistas, because you don't let your opponent to have the critical mass of those. And here archers, well, not exactly were able to deal with the ballistas because Diana didn't have a grasp control, or rather lost his grasp. And his control wasn't that crisp. Probably I messed with those words anyways. But that attack from the left side wasn't all that successful in the end. And on the right side, Dino still managing to has control over the mana well. And here he decided to use his mana on the resurrection of Hero. I'm not sure about this. Probably the meteor, another meteor on the ballistas would do a better job. But this paladin won enough time for the archers to be able to take down the enemy's one. And still, it is not a good position to fight the three ballistas. So Dino decided to pull back. And I'm sure he remembers that it is 10 seconds for the middle chest to come. Zwei tried to create the enemy's paladin, but he can't go with his princess deep into the archer's squad, and that means that Dino will get this big chest. And more resources is coming up to his name. The circle of power isn't exactly working on every unit, so ballistas weren't able to do many shots with this buff, so I think generally we are safe to say that this scroll was used in vain, so it wasn't really a good call out of Zwei. I see how that could seem to be a good decision at a moment, but eventually it just wasn't. And he pulls back where he has even more ballistas, and see how they do a great job against those archers, at least until they will all be taken down with this meteor. Perfect cast by Dino, and only 2 ballistas out of 5 remain on the map. And here come the tech. Dino not only added more production, but also added more tech, such as the Dwarven Forge 2, which allowed him to add a little bit of snipers to his mix, to be able to take down the heroes quicker, as well as the guardsmen, because sniper ignore the part of the enemy's armor, so they can take down the beefy targets easier, at least those who has more armor, because some of the beefy targets don't have a lot of armor, such as the Eater of Undead, so sniper is not that effective against Eater, but against the light units, who is generally higher armored, snipers are really good. Or they should be. Dino decided not to push up straight when his opponent's army is coming from the right corner, so he starts the fight, his paladin making this ballista to retreat, but it seems that Dino forgets about his Dome of the Light, so paladin casually goes down, But I think that the blue army does a great job. Diana's pulling back slightly from this Ballistas range, and this is now an interesting way to fight them, or rather not to fight them. So you just try to kite, and kite is probably not somewhat a new idea in the RTS, but here it works perfectly. And here what we have against a kiting army. The prepositioned ring of fire does a great job for Zwei in this position, so many archers went down, and Diana immediately dropped in the food supply, but he didn't drop for a lot comparing to the enemy's food supply right now. But anyway, I don't really think that Diana has anything to fight here for, because he already captured the chest. The only possible thing he can fight here for is an initiative, because while he was getting control in this place, he wasn't letting his enemy to really leave his base. But now it is not the case anymore, because the previous trade wasn't that good, and probably Diana should not lose all this, but he at least makes his opponent to advance slowly, which is also a good thing to do. Sort of a tactic that Terrans in StarCraft 2 tend to use, or StarCraft 1. Any race can use it against Terran, who has the tanks army, so you are trying to advance on it, so tanks have to siege and then unsiege, and that just makes the army move slower, and the same goes for the Ballistas. It is a funny fact, by the way, that Zwei is playing Terran in StarCraft, so he's definitely familiar with this opponent's strategy. And here Diana's trying to use this position, this choke, to hold this red army as long as he can, but he can't really hold it for long enough time, because they already made it 6 ballistas here. And Dinos decided to attack it, starting with the meteor, and it seems that, okay, only 2 ballistas go down, and that's probably a good thing for the red player. He splitted the remaining, and another ring of fire makes the Dino to pull back with archers. Not sure if he had to pull back with the guardsmen as well, but those are to go down anyway. And I don't think that Zwei has to go up to this army either. It seems that Zwei has to just attack the buildings right now, but his ballistas are in the great position to fight the archers. Here comes the artillery strike, don't really finish off anyone. This strike was reworked recently, so now it doesn't hit that accurately, so that's worse against the single targets, but that's better as a zoning spell against such unit as X-Masters, so the archers. But now Dino was trying to take down one particular ballista, so that didn't really work out well. Dino's trying to recapture his own chest, but now both his own well. Now both mana wells are under Zwei's control. And here the bombardier does a great job firing from above, taking down 2 ballistas one after one. Dino's trying to win more time, hovering with his princess over the map. And here the fight continues. Well, you know, it seems that Zwei is about to lose over all of his army, because it is only healers remain, and probably they are just forgotten in behind to win even more time. Probably Zwei A-clicked it somewhat in his own base, but healers just remained to heal each other. And here comes the meteor out of Zwei. taking down one sniper, not exactly worth it, but it seems that the players have a little bit of time to be able to... Oh, okay, not exactly Zvei will be able to regain mana because he loses both of the wells in this precise timing, so now he's 100 plus above in mana comparing to what his opponent has. And also his opponent, it seems, will capture all 3 chests now on the 30-minute mark. And also the mines on the base are about to run out significantly soon, but not really soon because we made it a little bit more gold in the main bases. I'm personally not sure it was a good change, honestly. You may let us know in the comments what you think about this, by the way, but now we have not 30 but like 40 minutes to play from the main base. In this league you can play about 4 minutes. Of course, the higher you go, the faster you mine the gold, the less time you will have to play off one base. But on this testing stage you can't really go high in levels, so it will always be like 40 minutes. And I feel that it's slightly too long, but well, I'm not sure, so I really wonder what you think. Now the fight remains. One sniper forgotten here. Dino also forgot his paladin. I'm not sure what does he do. Probably his ping jumped. It happens to Dino sometimes. He lives in Belarus, and sometimes his internet supporting provider does a bad things to him, and his ping jumping up to 2k plus. But anyway, now he again has his grip on his units, pulling them back, waiting for this Dome of the Light to come up. By the way, you may notice how the icons of the abilities blink or sparkle when the abilities are ready, so that you notice that you can now use them, so you don't forget them that often anymore. And now Dino's remembering to use this ability, but Paladin just retreats because he's low anyway, and Dino's not about to fight this strong kind of the positional army, such as the 2 Ballistas and even 1 more Ballista from the left side of the map. Oh, I'm worried for this blue Paladin. Probably he's not about to live any longer. While Zvei now has all of his heroes alive. He's pulling his Paladin back to heal probably, but now the A move and Paladin goes down. But those halberdiers are doing a good job against snipers, but well, now they're trying to take down Baron. Probably snipers are the better targets, not sure, but Baron is very low as well. It seems that Zvei is trying to take down every hero, probably to have the beefy army to be able to assault his opponent then. I'm not sure if that is particularly an idea or he's just making the tactical decisions in this particular position, no thinking too long in advance. Now Princess trying to force to keep the passive to take down the other princess, but she attacked someone and that dropped the passive. An interesting episode where you must remember that when you move the princess, since she can attack while moving, she can shoot someone and that will drop the previous worked passive, so be aware. But now we have Dino trying to get something at least out of his 3 rocks. He's honestly quite high on resources, but quite low on food, and that means that probably he's tilting a bit, I'm not sure, but he was forgetting the production cycles, which is a crucial mistake in any skill-based RTS. You may ergo how skill-based War Legends is, but at least up to some degree it is, and you can't afford forgetting the production cycles, and that is a terrible mistake, and that leads Dino, well, now he's not behind in food, because this production actually very slow. But let's first see what will be the outcome of this fight. The 3 archers doing the work of their life, taking down one more Ballistas. They's also resurrecting his paladin and resummoning his princess at the same time, so he just had only 1 hero remaining, but now all of them are back on the battlefield again. And now what I mean, look how Zvei only has 1 altar of hero, 1 barracks and 1 sanctuary, and that's it. So his production is incredibly slow, and if somehow Zvei will lose all of his units, he will not ever able to reproduce it quickly. And that is the big cons of his strategy. So the pros of his strategy is that he didn't spend many time to make the new production, because every other production building at the same time is more expensive, as you of course know, but he didn't spend on that. But that also means that he can't really replenish the army quickly. But if the opponent forgets the production cycle, that means that he doesn't use his advantage. But now Dino is not forgetting about that because he's not fighting, but isn't it too late? That is the question here, because Zvei is up 20 supply now, and he has 3 ballistas, more coming from his base to this assault, and he's starting to attack the buildings already, but also pulling back, not to receive the meteor on his head. And here it comes. This probably will not be able to save the meteor, and it would be better if they would just not touch princess, because she received even more damage from the meteor. But all in all, it is still 3 ballista to work with, 2 healers and the 2 heroes and 1 half, okay, even the 3 heroes, more to come from the base. Dino's doing a great job trying to steal the enemy's mana well, because what he really needs is a lot of scrolls. Defense as well as the meteor can be really helpful, but they leave 1 guardsman on that mana well, so that never happened. And he also captured Dino's mana well right now, so Dino's trying to force probably the last fight, but that all depends on the outcome. We see the blue paladin go into the ballistas, doing the great job, because if they are not forced to something, they will be trying to attack this hero and just will be pulling back. But it seems that Zvei is doing a great job forcing the ballistas on the particular targets, or even the particular attack ground positions. I'm not sure how does he do that, but what is notable in this game is that ballistas are always doing the right things. In every single engagement, or at least almost every single engagement, ballistas are actually attacking the stacked units. And, well, that sounds like a very basic thing to do, but if you ever tried ballistas, you know that this unit is a very tricky one to control. So Zvei is really paying a lot of attention and really babysit them, and they do a great job when treated like this. And that is how he's been able to beat this dangerous army of mass archers, along with the guardsmen and many heroes, and also the snipers. So that is not a weak army, but it went down. And now Dino's trying to do at least something, trying to spam more Wordsmith to probably be able to go into these ballistas and trying to force something, trying to make them to pull back, and this just doesn't work. And probably the last thing he can do is to spend the 125 mana on the meteor, and so he does, and all those about to go down by Zvey being perfect with his defense scroll, being able to use it on time and being able to save his ballistas. And of course all of them are very exposed now, very low on HP, but what on the earth will be able to finish them off? Because Diana's not having anything in his base, literally anything. One wordsmith will never be able to make it, and he goes down, and goes down the Diana, and his base is about to be cut off this map. Zvey is doing perfect job with his ballista in this game, and it seems that this unit has a lot of potential if you learn how to control them, and it seems that you and myself, we all have to learn how to play it and how to play against it, because otherwise we'll be in trouble, because those are extremely powerful in the right hands, and those hands led them to victory in this game. So let me know what you think about these units, and did you enjoy this game, and make sure to sub to our channel so that you don't miss the future games we will share with you. And for today I'll wrap it up. My name is Kabi, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.